So what's going on, everybody, all around the world on this great morning here on December 11th of 2019, the great Wednesday to be alive, and a great Wednesday to have me back up on live doing another video for you guys all around the world and all around the nation. And today is a great topic, a great subject that I want everybody to tune into. If you don't get the opportunity to tune into this live, I'm on Instagram live, I'm on YouTube live. I'm not doing my Facebook live today, but that's okay because I'm gonna do something different on Facebook this evening. So today's topic here from the podcast studio is on the war on depression and suicide, which is a very big topic here that affects everybody. It affects everybody because everybody has somebody in their family that goes through depression or somebody that has committed suicide. So first off, the first thing that I want to address is suicide. And let me back up. Let me talk about depression first, because depression leads to suicides and things like that. So depression basically is a person having feelings. It's almost like a self-doubt. Something happened, something triggers this to happen in your life, and you feel that all hope is gone. And when we look at schools, like kids are in school, the holidays are coming up. So I really want to talk about it right quick. When kids are in school, they go through a state of depression because sometimes things at home are not going as well. Sometimes that the parents aren't getting along. Sometimes the parents are filing for a divorce. Sometimes the parents are talking about divorce. Sometimes a kid's growing up in a one-parent home, so they don't have mama, or they may not have a dad in their life. So what they go through is a state of depression because sometimes they see other kids with those things, and it causes those things to happen. Then all of a sudden, they're going to school, they're being bullied because maybe they don't have what every other kid has. Maybe they don't wear the shoes. Maybe they're not popular. So these things happen. And then you're saying, well, what about adults? Because adults, yeah, we go through it. We go through depression. All right. And as the adults, depression hits when maybe we don't have enough money for the bills. Maybe we are at an age where we want to be married and we're not married. Maybe we're at a state in our life where we're like, hey, I'm ready for the settle down effect, right? Or maybe you're depressed because you have some things going on in your life that you're like, hey, these things should have been dealt with, years ago, or maybe you're dealing with depression because you're not who you want to be with. Maybe you got in a marriage and all of a sudden you decide that, man, this person's not for me no more. Like, I found the person that I want. I'm into this person now. I'm into this nationality. And all of these things lead to depression. Right? A lot of stuff leads to depression. But the war is on both depression and suicide. So now it's time for me to take my step into suicide. And it's a touchy subject and it's a touchy thing because people all around the world on a daily basis are committing suicide. They're killing themselves. They're killing themselves. They're killing themselves because they want to get out of a situation that they have all the control over. And what I mean by that, because you're probably saying, well, everybody don't have control over the situation that they're going through. Well, let me explain. So everybody has a choice to make in the world. Everybody has a choice to make. And the choices that we make sometimes can be bad choices, right? And sometimes they can be good choices. And sometimes when we make a good choice, it comes up with the bad ending, right? And we sometimes don't know how to deal with those things. And I'm just going to give you something to think about. Is suicide really worth it? And that's something just to think about. It's not bashing people who committed suicide. It's asking the people who are here now that's dealing with, do I want to end this thing or can I keep fighting? And that's the thing you have to keep doing. And that's why I titled this The War on Depression and Suicide, is because you have a battle to fight, and you can either stay in the battle or you can let the battle defeat you. And the thing that you need to understand and really grasp is that you're just in a fight. You've trained your mind. It has been trained and conditioned to fight this because how do I know this? Because I'm trained and conditioned to know that I need to go get help. And what I mean by that is I'm trained to know that I need to get help because obviously there's something going on, something going wrong in my life that's making me have thoughts of saying, hey, I want to kill myself, I want to hurt myself, I want to harm others, or I want to do this. And you and you realize you really have to go and get that help. 25 million Americans suffer from depression each year. 25 million Americans. 25 million Americans suffer from depression each year. That's a big number. That's a big number. That means out of 25 million Americans, you are either one or someone in your family's one. It's a fact. It's a fact. It's a given fact. You are one or your family's one. Depression takes over when we are alone. A lot of times it's when we're alone. And when you pick up the phone and call some of your family members, sometimes you hear it in their voice. They say they're fine, but they're really not fine. And I'm going to give you an example. There was a time where I was in serving in the military, and we came back from a training. Our training was about 30 some days, and we came back, and a medic had ended up killing himself. And before all of this, the medic was, I remember talking to the medic. We were all, coming down from the training. We were like, hey, what we're going to do when we get back? Hey, we're going to go chill. We're going to have fun. And that Monday morning, we had PT, physical training. And I remember seeing all the MPs, which are military police. They're everywhere. I won't going to say everywhere, but there was about 2 or 3 of the cars at the barracks. And I had just pulled up. And I went to formation, and they were like, hey, such and such did this. And I was like, dang, like, man, So when people say, and I didn't see the signs. I didn't see no signs of it, of depression or suicide. Neither one of them, didn't see them. So when people say that, you can see it in people, you can't see it in people. You can't see depression. You don't know what people's going through, The next thing is 50% of all people die by suicide who suffer from major depression. All right. So that means they're in a state of ready to be done with it. And life happens. I don't care what nobody says, life happens. 1 minute you have money to pay your bills, and the next minute you're short on money. You can't pay all your bills. You lose your job, you lose your car, you go to school and you're not the popular one in school, and so everybody wants to pick on you. They want to make you seem like you ain't nothing. Depression is more common among women from a statistic point of view, and it says, and as well as young people. So when we look at depression being with women, I know women, a lot of times, a lot of things can make them feel depressed. The way people treat them, sometimes they're not wanted, sometimes they're not loved, things of those nature. And with young people, it's just they're not getting the attention, that love and affection from their parents. I mean, love and affection. I'm not talking about, because there are people out here who abuse their kids with love and affection. What I mean by that is they molest their kids. Right. So when I'm saying with love and affection, I'm saying they don't give them the attention. Sometimes it's just taking your kid outside to the park and running around with them. And sometimes just walking around in your neighborhood with your kids. Sometimes it's asking your kids when they come home from school, how was your day? Instead of, always being on your phone, talking to your friends or talking to your coworker or talking to your boss, giving your kids that attention helps them. So there are things that we as people need to do. Depression, first, and another thing I'm going to say is depression does not only affect poor people. It affects rich people. It affects Black people. It affects white people. It affects Mexicans. It affects everybody that lives on this planet, no matter what country you're in. But today we're going to talk about Americans, because it's a war here on America. And it's a deadly war, because this war is not fought with guns. This war is not fought with tanks, and this war is not fought with machine guns. It's not fought with an enemy that I physically could train and go see. It's not fought that way. It's fought with the mind. It's fought with your heart. It's fought with your spiritual being. It's whatever you believe in, it wars with those things. And it wars a lot. And psychologists and counselors, they all want to come and give these helping hands, and they want to be there to help you, and go get the help. So go get the help. But I want to give you something to think about and something to write down as you look at this video and watch it, because it's going to be imperative to you. And it says how to fight depression. This is something that I came up with. How do I fight depression, and how do you fight depression, right? And the first way to fight it is getting help, period. Getting help, meaning, so you're saying, well, how do I go get help? And I don't want people to know what's going on with me. Maybe I have some trauma in my life. Maybe there's a mental illness I just found out I had. Maybe there's something, maybe I'm not in a financial stability like I used to be. Maybe I used to drive Bentleys and coupes and all that other stuff, and now here I am driving a Toyota or a Chevy, and I'm just like, hey, I went from Bugattis and Bentleys and all that to a Toyota to a Chevy. That's okay, because life happens. Maybe you went from a 6-bedroom house, now you're at a 3-bedroom house. Everything's cut in half now. That's okay, because what? Life happens. If people can't understand in your life that life happens, you need to let them people go. Because everybody's always going to have an opinion about where you should be at in life, and everybody's always going to have an opinion on where you should be or what you should be doing with your life. And that stuff brings up depression, and it brings up self-doubt, and it brings up people wanting to commit suicide because they want to live to a standard, and the standard that they're trying to live is not a standard that they really want to live, but because somebody told them they should be there, or because they came from a family lineage of people who have been in these positions. Now they want to commit suicide. But again, I said, how do I fight depression and suicide? You have to get help. And when you get help, you become a survivor, right? A person who has cancer doesn't sit at the house and just die away from cancer, right? What do? They get up, they go to a doctor. The doctor tells them, hey, this is what it is, right? Not only do they tell them that, they also tell them the treatments. And what do those people do? They go out there and they get those treatments. And if they die after getting those treatments, they went and got help. So you don't see them just not fighting. And that's what you have to do in your life. You have to fight. You have to be a fighter. You have to be a war against this thing, because everything in our life is about warring, how to fight and how to overcome. And you have to overcome it by getting help. And then that's when you become a survivor. Okay, your car it's like your car. If your car has mechanical issues, say hypothetically you're driving down the road and your car just happens to cut off. Okay, you take your car to a shop so that it can get help, right? And then you get the help that's necessary, and your car's back on the road and it's up and running, right? And with depression and with suicide, you have to be that individual who goes, stop in your life, realize there's a problem, and go get help, man. Don't worry about what people say, ladies and gentlemen, period. Don't worry about that, because people are always going to have something to say about you. They're going to always have something to say that to make you look bad. They're always going to do it. You know, I read books on, a lot of people, such as athletes who because they're in a stigma of, well, I make millions of dollars, or I make, I'm making this and that. And I thought I shouldn't have issues. I shouldn't have depression. People, they fight with depression on a daily basis because there are people out there who want to take their money. There are people out there who have ripped them off. There are people out there who have put threats on them. There are people out here who, and within their own organizations who have done this and done that to them. So now they're fighting this. Maybe they have friends who turn their backs on them. So now they're fighting this. They're trying to figure out, how do I overcome it? People are always going to tell you in your life what you can and can't do. Some people I know they're in schools where how they label them as special ed. Special ed means special education, meaning that your educational level has to go to instead of you being maybe in a mainstream class where you got 50 students, now you're in a smaller class where it's one-on-one help. And there's nothing wrong with that. And in this society, we have labeled people and we have labeled things to make it feel that, oh, you're not wanted in our society, where you're not good enough, and I I want to just talk to the parents right quick because I know there's parents that's going to be watching this. I want to talk to the parents real quick. You don't sit and bash your kid because they've done something wrong. You don't do that. You don't sit there and tell your kid because they're fat that they're fat, you know what? Because that affects that kid, a depressed state of mind. And the kid's not going to come and tell you, hey, I'm depressed, because they're all they're going to say is, well, if you tell them and they know that you call them fat, you're going to say, go lose some weight. People don't really care about people that's depressed and on the verge of committing suicide until suicide happens. So they kill themselves. Now they want to find out the unknown. Because the person that killed them said they can't talk. They can't come back and tell you what it was that made them commit it. So the biggest thing that I'm stressing is to make sure that you know who you are. Eliminate self-doubt. All right. Just because you don't, and it's small stuff, just because I don't get accepted into Harvard or Yale because my parents went to Harvard and Yale, doesn't mean that I'm at the bottom of the totem pole. Just because my parents might have graduated with honors, with the masters in criminal justice or psychology or physiology or any of that stuff, does not mean because I want an associate's degree and that's all I want is that I'm at the bottom of the totem pole, because you're not. You're not. As long as you are in this world and as long as you wake up each and every day, you have an opportunity to strive and do better than where you was at yesterday. And something that you have to realize. And I think another thing that makes depression and suicide come up is the hurry up of life. You want life to hurry up. You want to be making $100,000 if that's your goal in life. You want to be at the job of your dreams. You want to be in Hollywood acting. You want to be the next doctor. You want to be the next pediatrician. You want to be the next educator. And when it doesn't happen at a fast rate, people want to get depression, become depressed and commit suicide. People out here are battling for roster spots. And when I mean my roster spots, I'm talking about athletes. Athletes out here balling for roster spots. They're undrafted free agents. Some have been in the league for years. Some of them have been in the league for a year and some change. And they're out here and they're battling. And every time you battle, it gets tough sometimes because you're like, well, I want to be the best of the best. I want to make sure that I'm doing what is necessary to strive for excellence, right? And then the next thing you know is you don't make it. I always tell people I was cut from middle school football when I went and tried out 7th grade, and I was cut my 7th grade year. My 9th grade year at high school. And right then and there, I could have been depressed and I could have committed suicide. But is it worth it? No, it was not worth it, because each year I knew I needed to get better. There was something I needed to do. There's something I need to work on. Well, maybe what they're looking for is not, I'm not that, right? How do I become better? I have to work at it, right? I knew there's wars that go on in your mind, and you have to overcome that. And you have to overcome that with help. Stop trying to do it by yourself. This is to everybody, whether you're an athlete, whether you're a singer, whether you're a model, whether you are a churchgoer, whether you are the president of the United States, or whether you're a congressman or woman, you got to do this with help. You have to overcome everything in your life with help. And people can talk all day. Well, I wouldn't do it, because it's going to put me in the newspaper. Well, you know what? I'd rather get help than be put in the newspaper because of committing suicide. I'd rather be put in the newspaper of getting help, because let me tell y'all something. Your family is not going to be the only one that suffers when you kill yourself. It's others. Your friends suffer. Right? Your family suffered. Your people that put and invest in you have suffered. People that have said, man, I know they're going to be great, are suffering because you are no longer a part of their life. You're now gone. So I bring videos because it's all about it's all about knowledge. It's all about educating someone. Even when I was in the military, I went and got help. There were things I was battling with. I went and got the necessary help, right? And when you get the necessary help, sometimes the problem still is going to be there. We know that. But getting help is the first step to calling yourself a survivor. People, and something that people always want to say this and that and the third, but people don't understand. I survived depression. Right? I survived these things. I survived anxiety. It doesn't mean that I won't have them in my life, but I survived it to the point to know that when these things start to creep up, go get help. When these things start to creep up, don't sit and let my mind tell me and my heart tell me what I should do if it's a wrong thing to do, right? Get you some people who are going to hold you accountable in your life. Get people in your life that's going to check on you. And what I mean by checking you, it's not calling you for money. They're not calling you for to borrow stuff. They're calling to make sure that you're doing great. They're calling you to make sure that you're still alive and that you're still well. Okay, because that's how you fight. And the war gets harder, but it can get easier when you have your support systems in place. I'm telling you, because I've read newspaper articles, I've read articles on digital media about people committing suicide. And then everybody wants to know, why did this person do it? What was their motives? Get the motives before these things happen, people. Like, for real. You know, schools are going to try to tell your kids what to do. Books are going to try to tell your kids what to do. I mean, we live in a generation where entertainment tells our kids what to do, right? Where rap music tells our kids what to do. You know, if you feeling depressed, go smoke some weed. Come on now. That's unrealistic. If you feeling depressed, go get you some beer. That's killing yourself, right? Don't do that. Or if you're feeling yourself get depressed and down and out, then get some oxycodone. Those are not the right things to do. You have to know how to fight depression and suicide. I'm telling you, I've seen it, I've heard about it. I've had friends who committed suicide. Like, it's not a fun thing to witness. And I really want people to get an understanding on depression and suicide. Fight this thing. Don't just let it fight. Don't let it fight you. Get this thing. Understand it. Subscribe to me, y'all. Subscribe. I'm bringing more videos. I'm bringing more things, more educational things up here. For real. Subscribe. I'm going to be soon putting my stuff out there on iHeartRadio and all of that stuff. A lot of stuff is in the works right now, ladies and gentlemen. I want you guys to be on that train with me. I don't want you to just be like joining the train once I'm there. If you join it once I'm there, then join it. But for real, talk to your kids, talk to your spouse, talk to your family, talk to your mom and talk to your dad. Say, hey, how are you feeling? And you can tell them that, hey, I seen a guy, named David, AKA Preacher Man. He talked about depression and how to overcome it, and the war on depression and the war on suicide, how to overcome these things. And just talk to them, because nobody's going to take the time out of their day to check on you all the time. So go check on them. When you check on them, people check back on you. I'm telling you. So that's my time for today, everybody. That's my time for today. I'm gonna get my day. My day's already started. I just want everybody to live life. As they say, young bull. Young bull. They call it young bull. For the young folks. But check on them. It's one of those things you have to check on each other for real, and make sure that everybody's doing good, and understand that you can reach every time you reach out to somebody. Every time you reach out to somebody, you just reach out to them and tell them, hey, this is what it is, and this is what it's not. You don't have to get too much far in people's business and say, oh, well, you shouldn't be thinking like that. You just say, hey, how you doing? If they say, hey, I got some anxiety, some depression, I'm thinking commit suicide, and talk to them. Talk to them and see what the problem is. Because maybe you're that one that's going to change their mind, right? But again, that's my time. It's your boy, David, a.k.a. Preacher Man, and I'm out.